everybody, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while. It's been so long since I've sat down and made a video and posted it and, done the whole YouTube thing. Some things you might notice are different. I'm gonna point out the obvious. Actually, there might be two obvious things, I guess. One being my hair is a different length now. I know you saw a little snippet of me from my Paul McCartney video, but I haven't sat down and recorded a video since I've gotten my hair cut. So yeah, I guess that's a change, because I know I've had long hair in pretty much all my videos. Another big change is that we're in a new area. Oh my god. We have a new backdrop, which I've been waiting for the longest time. Now, if you don't know, I didn't have this before, and you can go back and look at my previous videos. I used to be in the corner. You used to be able to see my record player kind of right there, and I had this nasty, plastic white cubicle thing that was breaking. And so I've been waiting to get new record storage for the longest time. And over this past weekend, it was my birthday, and my parents got me new record storage, so I've been able to finally display my records how I want to and put things on top. I know you kind of can't see them, which maybe I'll do a little more in-depth record tour now, because I have stuff down here as well. So I guess that's kind of obvious and very exciting that I finally have kind of a nicer looking backdrop where you can see all my records. Well, most. I have a bunch down here. So that's a very obvious thing. If you've been watching my channel for a bit, you know that I kind of film in a different area. So now we kind of have this. I'm still gonna try to figure out the angle that I want, but as for right now, this is it. It's my new record storage. I'm so happy and I love it, and hopefully I will be able to do a more in-depth look on my record collection. If anybody wants to see that, it's gonna take me a bit because there's close to 200 records right here, so it might take me a bit, but I will do it because I want to go through them all now. But yeah, that's a very obvious change, so we'll start off with that. But yeah, I'm so happy to be sitting down and making a video. I've missed it. I've just been very busy this summer. I have a month left till I go back to school, so I'm hoping to get a couple more videos out, or at least recorded before I go back. But yeah, let's get on to what we're doing today. So today we are doing something I've been playing around with the idea of what I want my next video to be, and I decided that it's been long enough since I've ranked the Beatles albums, so I thought, why not do it again? Because it's changed. My list has changed from my last time that I did it, which is well over a year ago. I actually went and rewatched it last night to make sure my list was at least somewhat different, and it is. It's very different now. And oh my god, it's just crazy how much a person can change in a year. But yeah, so that's what we're doing today. I'm really excited, and yeah, I don't think there's anything else yet in my mind that I can think of to say. So we're gonna get started with me ranking the Beatles, but my updated version of 2022. So we're gonna do it the same way I did it last time. We're gonna start off at the bottom and go to the top. So the bottom, I don't hate any of these albums. I just want to put a disclaimer that I don't hate any of these albums, and it was really challenging to rank them because they always change. I said that in my last video, but this always changes for me. But this is where I'm at right now, and maybe I'll do another one a year from now to see really where I've changed from here. But this one might not surprise anybody. This is the only one that has not changed, and if I keep looking like this, it's because I have my list right there on my handy dandy laptop featuring my nice stickers. So we're gonna start off with number 13, which is none other, let's see if I can get it without a glare, none other than Yellow Submarine. I feel like this doesn't surprise people because this is, in my opinion, their worst album. I think it's their worst movie. I think it's one of the worst things they probably did. I'm not a complete Yellow Submarine hater, if I'm being honest. I don't hate Yellow Submarine. I just think this is not good. Like, if you're gonna listen to the Beatles, do not listen to this. You know, just don't do it. Listen to something else. Like, I feel like this being the last one is pretty self-explanatory. I feel like I don't really have to explain it that much, because like the only like somewhat good songs, like literally the best song on this album is All You Need Is Love, and that's it. Like, I feel like I don't have to explain it that much, so I'm not going to. I'm not going to give it more time than it needs. I'm just not. With that being said about Yellow Submarine, we're gonna move on to the next album, which this one was kind of tough, but I put at number 12, Let It Be. Now, I don't hate this album. Like, I wouldn't say I hate Yellow Submarine, but I don't dislike this album like I dislike Yellow Submarine. Sorry, there's a glare. I feel like it's just, I gotta be in a mood to listen to it, and I'm over that. Like, I haven't been in a mood to listen to Let It Be in a long time, and I think especially with the Get Back documentary coming out, I've kind of gotten even more tired of Let It Be, and the Let It Be sessions. I've kind of gotten just a little tired. Not that I don't like them, I just kind of am not really vibing with it right now. It's just not, it's not what I'm vibing with, so I put it at number 12. And I will listen to this album over Yellow Submarine, that's why it's above it. But yeah, I think I had this one, I actually have my old list here too. I had this ranked last time at 11, so it's not really that big of a surprise, I guess. It just moved one spot down. But yeah, I kind of always have to be in a mood, and I kind of feel like a lot of the songs off this album are like very overplayed, like Let It Be. Love the sentiment behind the song, I love it, but it's so overplayed. Best song on this album though is Across the Universe, and I will fight anyone on that. It's Across the Universe, the best song on this album. Just saying. Moving on to number 11, this one was kind of tough for me to put this right here, but I took a lot of thought and consideration into this, and I decided to put Beatles for Sale at 11. And personally, I really like this album still. I definitely think it does not deserve all the hate that it gets. Again, I'm sorry for the glare. I do not think it deserves the hate that it gets, but compared, like where I'm at right now compared to the other albums and some of their earlier stuff, this just kind of ranks a little bit lower for me. I do still absolutely love this album. I think it holds its own, if I'm being honest. I think it's awesome, and it really does hold its own, and it is good. I just feel like, compared again to their earlier stuff, it just doesn't rank as high for me. Not at the moment. I think I had this higher last time. Yeah, I had this higher last time. I had this at number 8. So it has gone down a bit, but I think that's just because I've re-listened to a lot of earlier stuff, which is my kind of favorite stuff, and I just prefer some of their other earlier albums to this one. But I still love it, and it kind of hurt me a little bit to put it down here, but that's where it is right now. Now, moving on, I'm going to be saying that a lot. Moving on, sorry my little bang thing looks a little funky on the side. I don't really know how to fix that. But anyways, moving on to number 10. I think last time I had this one ranked also at number 10, so this one did not move. We have Sgt. Pepper's. Very iconic album. I think it's a great album, but I honestly just don't listen to it enough. And I think that's because I just prefer other albums over it, like you'll see kind of in my rankings. I still stand by that, like, besides A Day in the Life, She's Leaving Home is the best song on this album. Yeah, I still really like this album. I love it. How can you not like Sgt. Pepper's? But I just think, again, compared to their other stuff, I just prefer this. I prefer other things, not this. That's what I was trying to say. But yeah, so we have at 10 again, Sgt. Pepper's. I feel like I don't need to explain too much on this because I kind of did last time. In my opinion, kind of really hasn't changed. I still love it. I still think it's great, and when I'm in the right mood, I vibe to this so much. But yeah, it's staying at 10. It's staying at. So coming in at number 9, we have an album that for the longest time I've hated on and kind of not really been interested in. And I think even in my last video, I had it ranked kind of very low. I think I had it right above Yellow Submarine. So this has moved up a bit, and that is the iconic album that is Revolver. So I kind of have always not been the biggest fan of Revolver, but I think, again, with age, I'm growing older. I kind of have gone back, especially while I'm at school. I kind of dive into music more. Because it's a huge comfort for me, if you can't tell. But I have grown to love Revolver a lot more than I did. I think the best song on this album is... Ooh, that's hard. I really like this album now. I can tell you my least favorite songs on this album is probably... Honestly, probably Good Day, Sunshine. I hate that song. I don't know why, I don't like listening to it. I think it's not good. It's just not my personal favorite. But I love She Said, She Said. I love I'm Only Sleeping. I love Eleanor Rigby. I didn't appreciate this album, and now I do, and I love it. So Revolver's up there a little bit more. I definitely prefer other albums still over it, but I've grown to love this in its own way. And yeah, so it's moved up quite a bit, actually. I think I hated on it in my last video, which, I don't know, if you want, go back and watch that video, but I don't really recommend it because it's kind of embarrassing, if I'm being honest. But I'm keeping it on my channel because it shows growth, and I think that's very important to see in a person. But yeah, Revolver is at number 9. Really quick, before I move on to the next album, I wanted to say that I'm ranking like the main studio albums, and I'm thinking about maybe doing another video where I rank like things like Yesterday and Today and Beatles 65 and all those albums. I'm thinking about it. Like, I don't know, would you guys like to see that? Like, not the like what you think of when you think of Beatles albums, like, you know, like not their typical name studio albums like the other ones. Like, would you like to see that? I don't know. If you would, maybe I'll do it. Maybe I won't if you don't want to do it. I mean, see it. I don't know. But moving on, I just wanted to point that out there. I forgot to say it earlier in the video. But we're moving on to number 8, and this also is kind of tough for me to put this album this low because I think last time I had it higher, but I have Please Please Me at number 8, and this album, I said it in my last video, but this one has a special place in my heart, and it always will. I just find that I do, again, listen to some of the other earlier stuff more than I do this album. Like, when I listen to this album, I absolutely love it. I just don't listen to it as often as I do the other ones, which is why it's where it's at. Because I'm just listening to other early albums, and when I do listen to this album, I absolutely love it, and there's not a flaw on this album. It holds a special place in my heart. I still have the receipt inside of it. I took it out and showed it in my last video. I still have it inside. So this album was actually the first Beatles album that I bought, which is why I think it also has that sort of sentiment and place in my heart, because it's my first vinyl purchase as a Beatles fan, and just in general, this was the first album that I ever bought. So I'm very proud to have this album, and I love it, and I was sad that I put it as low as I did, but in comparison, again, I just don't listen to it as often as I do the other ones. But I really do love this album. So go listen to Please Please Me, because it's a good album, despite it being like all covers. Don't pay attention to that part. Now at number 7, we have Help, which I love Help. I put this above Please Please Me because I absolutely love this movie. I think this movie is so great, and I just love this album. I mean, I think my least favorite song on this album would probably be, I want to say maybe Act Naturally. Sorry, Ringo. You'll see I don't really have a lot of favorite Ringo songs. Also, this is unrelated, but I'm thinking about doing a video of my favorite album from each Beatle. If you'd like to see that, or like my favorite albums, plural, I'm thinking about doing that because I think that'd be kind of fun to kind of give you and give recommendations on what you should listen to and how you should get into each of their solo careers, because there's a lot. But yeah, that's unrelated. Now back to this. I put Help here because I do tend to listen to it just a little bit more than Please Please Me. I love the movie, which is why I think I connect it to the album so much, because I just love the movie so much. I don't know, I love it. I think it's underrated. I was trying to think of the word, I couldn't think of it for a second, but I think this album's a little bit underrated. Is it their best work? No, but I think it is a little bit underrated, and it's great, and I think you should go listen to this one too. I think you should go listen to all these albums except for Yellow Submarine. Don't listen to Yellow Submarine, it's not worth your time. Now, coming in at number 6, we have an album that when I last ranked my albums, this came in at number 5. So this one moved down a notch, but I still love this album to the bottom of my heart, and that is Magical Mystery Tour. I love this album. It got beat out by one album that I listened to more this year, and I had to bump it down a notch. And it hurts me to do so, but I love this album. I love Magical Mystery Tour so much. I think this is such a good album. I think it's also kind of underrated. I think people that say it's their favorite album, they don't always mean it. So if you say Magical Mystery Tour is your favorite album, tell me why, because I would like to know, because I used to say it was my favorite album, and it was, but it's no longer my favorite album. But it got so close to being in the top 5, so I gotta give it a little more extra credit, because I just love this album. I think it's so just good, and like, I don't know, it's that good like zaniness and the psychedelicness of the time, and I think it's a great representation of that. I think it's better than Sgt. Pepper's, if I'm being completely honest, but it's to each their own. I love this album, and now I want to listen to it. Maybe I'll listen to it after this video, I don't know. But yeah, Magical Mystery Tour is at number 6. We are now getting into the top 5. We're getting into the top 5, okay? So at number 5, we have Meet the Beatles / With the Beatles. Now this was ranked quite low at my last one. This was ranked at number 9 last time, but now it's ranked at number 5, and that's because I absolutely love this album. It's one of my favorites. I think it is underrated, and it gets a little bit of hate that it does not deserve. I think it's absolutely great. Yeah, there's more covers on it, but I think the covers are great. And I just have found myself listening to this a lot, especially for some reason, like I work late at night sometimes at my summer job, and I just like put this album on and I drive home to it. I don't know why. I've tended to do that on more than one occasion this summer. So I absolutely love this album. I've always loved it. I've always thought that it kind of gets a little bit more hate and not enough recognition than it deserves. So that's why I have Meet the Beatles and / With the Beatles at number 5. So now, at number 4, we have an album that I think used to be at number 3. So it moved down a notch. We have Abbey Road. It's a bit shocking. I know, calm down. I put Abbey Road down just one more because I have found myself liking other albums that I used to not like. I think this album, there's no way I could not have put this album in the top 5. Like, there's no way I could not. This is one of my favorite Beatles albums. And sometimes I think it's a little cliche to say that, but at the same time, it's like, this is a great album. This is absolutely a great album. There's like, the worst song on here is honestly Octopus's Garden. The best song on here, I think it comes between Because, Something, and I Want You, She's So Heavy. That's my top 3 songs on this album. I just love this album so much. I really do. And it would have been at number 3 again if it wasn't for the next album that beat it out of its place, which was a bit surprising for me if I'm being honest. But it happened. And I still love Abbey Road. So I feel like this would be an album, this along with my number 1 and my number 2 would be the albums that I would tell people that weren't Beatles fans to listen to. And it'll make sense in a minute when I say like my top 2, because this one and then those other 2 albums I feel represent a little bit of each era of the Beatles. So that's why I would put this with like those 2 and say you should listen to this if you're not a Beatles fan. So if you're watching this and you're not a Beatles fan, there you go. Here's this one, and then listen to 1 and 2. Now, at number 3, we have one that's a bit shocking for me personally, because for the longest time I hated on this album, and for good reason, but I have become a lover of this album so much that it beats out Abbey Road, which I never thought that day would come, but it has. We have the White Album / just the Beatles, if you want to get technical with it. So we have, I'm just going to call it the White Album for just easy sake, and that's what people know it as. I put this at number 3 because I have grown to absolutely love this album. There's still a lot of songs on it that I don't really like Back in the USSR, Obla Di Obla Da. But my favorite songs on this album, Happiness is a Warm Gun, Sexy Sadie, what else? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. There's so many that I can't think of all of them on the top of my head. Let's see. Oh, One More Guitar Gently Weeps. How could I forget that? Oh my god. But yeah, I have the White Album at number 3 because I have grown to absolutely love this album. I've listened to it a lot this year, and I absolutely love it now. I used to hate it so much because there was so many songs on here that I didn't listen to, but when I kind of have sat down and listened to the entire album in its entirety without skipping, made me realize I love a lot more songs than I thought I did. So that's why it's kind of been bumped up a little bit more, and I love it. It's so good. I might listen to this one after too. I might listen to all of them. I'm just gonna sit down, I'm just gonna listen to all of their albums like right now. Yeah. So now we're getting into the top 2, which these go along with Abbey Road in the sense that if you're not a Beatles fan, you need to listen to these albums if you want to start getting into the Beatles. At number 2, we have A Hard Day's Night. Look, it's so gorgeous. I absolutely love this cover. Can I just say that right now? I absolutely love this album cover. I don't know what it is about it, if it's the blue, if it's this little red, or if it's just their faces. I just absolutely love this. I love this album. I love everything about this album. I love this movie. It's so good. It's just so good. This is like probably my favorite album of like their, like kind of their still early sound. They're like poppy, more like, you know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? I absolutely love A Hard Day's Night. If you didn't know, that's kind of how I got into the Beatles. I've always like known who they are and listened to them as I was a kid, but it wasn't until my 11th birthday when my parents gave me a DVD copy of A Hard Day's Night because it was like the 50th anniversary of it. And I watched it, so I have a special connection to the movie and this album just in general because it just brings back those feelings for me and that sort of nostalgia, so that's why I absolutely love this. And I had to put it at number 2 because I listened to this album a lot out of their early stuff, and I love it. It's so good. Everybody should, like this, I feel like this album does not get a, maybe it's just me that I just don't see it often, but I feel like nobody really talks about it anymore. And I feel like this is such a good album. Like, how can you not talk about this album? Like, it's one of their best out of the early stuff, I think. If not the best out of the early stuff. Plus, like, 1964 is like probably my favorite year. Or one of my favorite years of the Beatles. I love 1964. But yeah, so we have A Hard Day's Night at number 2. So we've got into number 1, and you might have noticed and already figured out what one is number 1, and I feel like this is not a shock because this was also my number 1 in my last video ranking these albums. And we have, just take a second, we have Rubber Soul. How could I not put this at number 1? Okay, this, for me, I put this at number 1 because I listen to this album a lot, and I feel like for me personally, like, I love the early stuff, and it took me more time to get into the later stuff, and I think I fell in love with this album partly because it's kind of a perfect blend of when they were still kind of in their early era, but also kind of getting more to like experimental music. So me, I think this is like kind of a perfect blend for that. So that's kind of why I put it at number 1, and it's my favorite album because I kind of get the best of both worlds with it, and it's got great songs. I love this entire album. It's so good. I just love it. I love the album cover. I love the art of it, the pictures. So good. Like, how could I not? Like, you probably saw this coming. I mean, I talked so highly of it last time. How could you not see it coming? Like, I just love this album. It's my favorite Beatles album. One of my favorite albums of all time. I think it's so good. And that's why I clump this one, and then Abbey Road. I think I already put it back. I put these clumped together. Like, if you want to start listening to the Beatles, listen to these 3 because you have, in my personal opinion, the best of their early years, and then you kind of got their middle to more experimental side, and then you've got Abbey Road, which is kind of the best of their end. So that's why I was kind of rambling without you knowing. That's why I put those 3 together. If you're not a Beatles fan, like, you should go and listen to those if you want to get started, or if you just want something to listen to. I highly recommend all 3 of these. I just thought it'd be kind of fun to take a look back and, you know, see how I've changed from a year to now. I've changed a lot as a person, and my music taste has grown, and I love music so much, and I'm so grateful to have access to all this music and things like that, and to be able to rank albums for you, and to be able to have my channel, because I love my channel, and I love talking to you guys, and I love just like doing everything. I know I'm kind of rambling, but I just haven't been able to talk in a while about Beatles or music or just on my channel in general. So I hope that you guys kind of enjoy this more laid back video, and you kind of like my new setup, and hopefully are excited for more content to come, because I hope some will be coming out soon. I'm gonna sit down and make plans to make sure I record videos and edit them and get them out sooner. But yeah, I think that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this ranking, and like I said, if you want to go back and look at my old video, my old rankings a year ago, go ahead. I mean, warning, it's a little awkward, but, you know, I'm keeping it there for a reason, so you can kind of see how I've changed. But yeah, I think that's kind of it. I don't really have anything else to add, but sometimes I will plug my Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram if you want to kind of see me update a little bit more on like my story and give you things like that. It's just Classic Rock Corner. I'll put it in the description. You can go and follow me. I want to try to start posting on there a little bit more, because I think it'd kind of help a little bit when I don't have videos out, that I can still kind of interact with you guys. So feel free to follow me there. But yeah, I think that's everything today. And as always, I really appreciate everybody commenting and watching my videos. I love you all, and I can't wait to come back and make another video very soon.